So, Joanna Plowman, you are the president of the club volleyball team here at Virginia Tech. You are an H&FE major with a minor in psychology. So tell me a little bit about club volleyball.
Yeah, so club volleyball here at Virginia Tech, we're a two-team program. We compete each semester. We practice 4 days a week. It's a highly committed group of people, and we love to play volleyball and love to stay competitive.
I would imagine that all of you guys have a pretty heavy volleyball background. What are some of the differences in the players, like who maybe played for a long time, or are there some players on the team that are newer to this?
Yeah, so we open tryouts up to everyone, but the way that it turns out, we're very competitive, so it turns out everyone has had a great deal of experience playing volleyball in the past. Most people have at least played in high school for a couple years, and most of the team has played club for several years before that. But we also have a couple girls that are just extremely athletic and pick it up super quick and easy, so there's a good variability there.
Cool. So you guys just had a tournament. You guys actually just hosted a tournament, and you guys finished second in that. I know that was your first loss of the season. You guys unfortunately got stumped by Tennessee. But what's that like, being able to kind of compete at the collegiate level, but having it not be a Division I sport, but you're still going up against other schools? Maybe you know some of the players on other teams, but like that environment of it feeling like a competition. Like, what is that like?
Yeah, it's nice because it's a step down from Division I. It's not as much pressure and on the line, but it's really nice getting to represent Virginia Tech, and we see a lot of the same people when we compete against the same schools multiple times throughout the season. So that's really special, but the loss definitely hit hard. We've had a really competitive fall and beginning to our spring season. So having our home tournament, first loss of the season in the finals, hit close to home, but we're looking up for the rest of the season. It was just the beginning, so we're looking up from here.
So I guess with that in mind, like how often do you guys practice, and I guess how many tournaments and competitions do you guys have like throughout the course of spring semester?
Yeah, so we practice 4 days a week, about 2.5 hours each day that we practice, so pretty big time commitment, but we have 3 tournaments in the fall, 1 being home, and then in the spring is our main season. We have our national tournament at the end, which is what we're gearing up for. That's the highlight of the entire season. So our 3 tournaments this spring, one was our home tournament this past weekend. At the end of March, we're going to South Carolina, which will be another ranking tournament feeding into that nationals ranking. And then right before nationals in April, we're going to North Carolina, which is another ranking tournament. And then right after that, we head to Kansas City for nationals, which is where it all comes together. Everything comes down to that, what we've prepared for. So.
Yeah, I feel like, a lot of people, they hear the word club and they kind of just assume that it's like within the school, or maybe you're going up against like some of like the rivaling, colleges nearby, but it really is like a much like greater, presence, and especially like with the national rankings. So I guess as far as national ranking go, like what do you need to be able to even qualify for like your team to be recognized nationally? Like obviously it takes like, being one of the better teams, but like how do you get that recognition nationally, and like how big is the scope of club volleyball? And I guess in all of club sports is probably a little different, but they all probably relate to the idea that there is a national presence. So like what's that like from the club perspective that a lot of people like may not know about?
Yeah, so volleyball is actually growing a lot in women's and the men's side of volleyball, at the collegiate club level especially. We compete at nationals against a couple hundred teams, and the way that the rankings work is you play in these tournaments, you play against good teams, that improves your ranking. You play against bad teams, if you win, still improves, but not as much as if you beat those good teams. So going into nationals, the other year we were ranked 17th and we ended up finishing 3rd. So competing at that big of a scale is really crazy. I mean, some people think that club sports are on the low end, anyone can play, and some schools are very inclusive and that's fine, but then there is a wide range. Some schools have club sports that are very competitive that will actually end up beating D3 schools in volleyball. So it's definitely a wide range of competitiveness, and competing on that scale at nationals is really something special to be able to represent Virginia Tech.
So I guess focusing on you more personally, what got you into doing club volleyball? I know you did volleyball in high school, but what made you kind of take that next step and want to commit your time to doing volleyball here?
Yeah, so I kind of had an interesting path because my sister played volleyball here at Virginia Tech for the club team as well, and she was actually the president her senior year, so I kind of followed in her footsteps. But my freshman year, I actually didn't make the team. So I took a year off, I practiced, I trained on my own, and then coming back sophomore year, I tried out again, I made it, which showed me that hard work and dedication truly does pay off. Sounds cliche, but so that was my path. I got into it because my sister, it was the biggest part of her college experience. So I definitely followed into her footsteps. She's a big role model of mine, clearly, since I'm the president now.
Well, that's congratulations on making it. It shows a lot of who you are, being able to kind of see that adversity. A lot of people will kind of take it and say, that's it and look elsewhere. But, props to you for sticking with it and making it up to that, kind of next level. So I guess, volleyball's been a big part of your life, especially here. But did you ever grow up playing any other sports that might have helped your maybe it made you show that you like volleyball more, or maybe gave you a greater appreciation, or just kind of helped maybe other areas with training and just general athleticism?
Yeah, I played softball growing up as well as volleyball. Mostly in middle school, I played travel softball, and I also played club volleyball, so that took up a big chunk of my time. I started playing softball and then got into volleyball. So once getting into volleyball, I kind of realized, I actually do like volleyball more than I like softball. So I ended up cutting off softball in high school due to some overuse injuries, a lot of the same motion. So I went full on volleyball after that.
That's fair. So you've mentioned that you guys practice 4 days a week and obviously have a lot of tournaments. Do you guys, as a core, do you guys do anything that's outside of volleyball? Like maybe some of you might live together, or maybe you guys have intentional hangouts, or do you guys have a really strong off the court chemistry, or is it kind of more just show up and work?
Yeah, we're a very tight-knit group. That was one of my focuses coming in as president too, is to really foster that chemistry off the court as well as on the court, because it is completely interchangeable and feeds off of each other. We have a couple girls that are roommates with each other. We hang out. We spend at least 8 hours a week on the court together, but off the court, we hang out every single week. We have little functions that we have with each other, hanging out on the weekends. We like to go on team hikes, D2 dinners. So we're definitely close, and I think that shows on the court, because you can't have chemistry on the court if you don't have chemistry off the court. And
I was just about to ask that. How much of how you guys are able to perform, especially at a high level, like you guys have been able to play and hope to continue to play, how much of that is due to how close you guys are off the court? How much of an impact does it have with teamwork and communication and chemistry and stuff like that?
As in most sports, chemistry is extremely important, but I think in volleyball it just is maximized even more. If you don't have chemistry on the court and you're not friends with your teammates, you don't know your teammates and how they act, that's going to show on the court completely. If you don't trust your teammate, know how they play, even just trust them to that they're going to get that ball, then everything starts to crumble on the court.
Yeah, I think that's all that I have for you today, so thanks for having me on.
Thank you.